Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode. Kimberly Denise here. And I just want to say thank you for tuning in once again. And thank you for tuning into this episode specifically, because if you're listening to this episode, it's because you want to take your life and your money mentality to the next level, right? And the first step is seeking out growth for yourself. So I just want to commend you for being here. And this is going to be awesome because this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. And this hasn't always been my favorite topic to talk about. I can personally say that right now, my relationship with money is better than it has ever been in my entire life, but it has not always been like that, right? If you listen to my first episode, I talked a little bit about my background and where I came from. And just to summarize it, I grew up in poverty, raised by a single mother. Money was scarce, right? Money was hard to come by. Money was also the root of all evil and all these things that we hear. I heard all of those things, like maybe you did as well, right? But I grew up thinking that money just didn't come to people like us. I wasn't one of those families, or I wasn't in one of those groups of people that had money. It was just something that was just so hard to come by. So then growing up, the only thing that I really knew is that people who had money, they either had a really good job or they were just rich somehow, and I had no idea how they were rich. I wasn't even aware of the world of entrepreneurship until I turned 18 and I discovered the world of network marketing and that you didn't have to go to work to earn money. But up until that point, I just thought, well, you got to go to college, you have to get a degree, you have to have a really really good job, excuse me, in order to have a lot of money. And what I soon discovered was that wasn't true, right? So, what I want to talk about today are a couple of different things. And if you're taking notes, I really encourage it because I'm going to give you some takeaways from this episode that are going to be super powerful for you to take away and to start applying into your life as soon as today, right? My whole intention on this podcast is to give you nuggets of wisdom and of truth and of information that you can literally take and just start applying immediately and see a result as soon as today. See a result as soon as this week, right? But you have to be the one to make the commitment to take the information and apply it, test it out to your life, right? With an open mind and an open heart and with an intention of creating change in your own life. So, what is money, right? What do you think of when you hear the word money? You might think of a dollar bill or $100 bill, or you might think of something that's dirty. You might think of something that's evil. You might think of something that's makes people greedy. But the first step to experiencing more money in our life is to find out what is our relationship with it right now. Because if we identify that there's a lack of something, if we identify that there's a lack of money in our life, chances are the relationship between you and that thing is not very good, right? Otherwise, you would have a lot of it, right? So when I had someone bring this to my awareness, I started to reflect. I started to reflect on what is my relationship with money right now? Like, how do I view this? How do I view what money is? And to me, money was I never really viewed money for what it really is, which money is a tool. And it's energy, right? If you want to get down to the basics of things, right? Because we've been discussing everything is energy. Your energy, I'm energy. Everything around us is literally units of energy compacted and compressed into different molds of things, right? We got a table, we have a couch, we have a bed, we have a computer, a microphone, or whatever's around us, right? Everything beneath the matter is all energy. All matter is made up of energy. So that means that money is energy too. And today in our society, money is a tool. Money is a unit of exchange or currency, right? But think about this. Money really has no value in and of itself. Like, think about it. You could have a stack of $100 bills right there on your desk, right? Boom. You got a stack and it's maybe like $1,000 or something like that. The monetary value of that money, it might be $1,000 if there's 10 of them, right? Is $1,000. But until you take that money and you go and use it to do something or to purchase something, it's really nothing, right? It's just sitting there. It's just money. It's not, you're looking at it. Is it making you feel happy? No. I mean, you might be grateful that you have it there, but until you go and exchange it for something, for an experience, until you go and purchase something that you've been needing or wanting in your life, until you go and trade it for something, it literally just has no value. And it has no value until you go and trade it for something, right? But it has no, the value that we put on money It depends on who is holding the money, who's using the money as well. Right? So a couple of things that I wanted to spout on this episode, because a lot of us have this issue, especially those of us who come from a religious background. We might have a feeling about money of that, money's dirty, money's evil. If we want it, we're greedy. If we want it, we're bad or something like that. And you know what I've discovered, especially over the past several years, as I've been like unraveling and undoing, and really in the past like 6 months, those of you who know me personally, you know that I've come out of um, my strict religious dogma that I grew up in and with. I've really been able to let go of that and to really explore my spirituality, my consciousness, and to just be freed from the ideas that were given to me that I didn't choose as a child. They were given to me as truth, and so I believed them out of fear, right? And maybe you can relate to that. So I know in religious circles and in growing up, we're made to believe that if you want money, that's a greedy thing to want money, or that um, having a lot of money just makes you evil, or it makes you it can make you a bad person that doesn't care about others or something like that, right? And a reflection that I had several months ago, I was like, wow, you know what? If I want to control the world, if I wanted to be somebody who just had so much control and controlled the whole world, you know what I would do? I would make the masses think that money was a bad thing. I would make the masses think that money was evil. I would put out propaganda campaigns to make people hate money. You know why? Because I want it all. And then you know what I thought? I was like, that's exactly what's been done. The people who want control of the earth and want to control all of us, right? They have put out various different propaganda campaigns to make us feel like the thing that will give us life and freedom and the ability to live more and live better lives, healthier lives, safer lives. The thing that gives us the power to do those things, right? We're wanting to repel because we think, and we've been trained since we were like little tiny children, that it's a bad thing to have, or that it's a bad thing to want to have, right? And that realization right there got me to realize that my thinking about money, any type of guilt that I had around it, any type of uncomfortable feeling of like, oh, well, I'm not a good person though if I want a lot of that. All of those types of thoughts and all those types of beliefs and feelings, I realized right away I had to completely delete those. I had to just move those to the side and just let go of them, because I realized immediately that was a part of some indoctrination and programming that I had been given, right? And that a lot of us, the majority of us have been given, right? Because here's the truth. If we were taught in school what money truly is, how it's really earned, how a lot of it is accumulated very easily and simply. If all of us were taught that in school, do you know that none of us would be able to be controlled in the matter that we're controlled? We wouldn't have people who are just good little employees that go to the job and go and run the world, while there's a small percentage of people who go and accumulate a lot of money, right? Because the truth is there are some people who have a lot of resources and a lot of money who do want to control the masses of people. That is the truth, right? Or you might think that that's a conspiracy, but it is true that there is a very small percentage of the population that wants to control a larger percentage of that, right? And of course, maybe you're a part of the group that wants to raise the consciousness of the collective and of the world, so that way that's not the truth anymore. That's not the way that things are, and I'm a part of that group as well. But anyhow, so if you have any feelings or beliefs that money is evil, or that you wanting money makes you evil or a bad person, I encourage you to just start questioning those thoughts, and just start questioning all of your thoughts and your beliefs around money. Think back to when you were a small kid, prior to 8 years old, or even ages 0 to 12, right? And just think about, how was money in your household? What was the situation with money? What was it that you heard the most? What was it that was said to you? Maybe you wanted a toy, or you wanted to go here or there, or you wanted to do something, and it was just always like, we don't have money for that. What do you think? Da 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 da. How are you going to pay for that? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? Or you just had to keep telling your friends, no, I can't go there. No, I can't do this. Like, I know for me, like, I had to deny a bunch of field trips all the time, and I couldn't do extracurricular activities, and I couldn't go here and do this, or I couldn't go hang out with my friends when they wanted to go here on the weekend or whatever. Like, I couldn't participate in all the extra things of life because there was always a lack of money. And I just thought that that was normal for me. And I thought that that was the way it was. I'm one of these poor people. They're one of those richer people or people who has money. And that's just the way that life was, right? Now I know that's not the case, but that's my whole scripting and my storytelling and my experience as a child. So maybe you have a similar one. I encourage you to look back and be like, what was the script that was given to me? Because whatever was given to you, whatever your experiences were, whatever experiences that you had, or whatever things that you heard or witnessed, maybe your parents fought a lot about money, or there was just like stress all the time. You saw your parents stressing out about paying the bills, or whatever it was. That's what got ingrained into you. And that is a program that's installed into your mind, in your brain right now. And it's running below the surface where you can't even hear it really. You might not even be aware of it. But that is contributing to whatever your bank looks like today. That's contributing to whatever your business looks like today. That's contributing to whatever your money situation or your relationship with money is today. It all goes back to that childhood programming. So that's the first step, is to start questioning what it is we were given as truth about money. Start questioning, what do I believe now about money? And what is my relationship right now with money? I'm going to take a drink of water. So the second thing is just to realize what money truly is. So we said that it's energy. We said that it's a tool, right? It literally is just a unit of energy. It's literally just a tool that you can trade for things or for experiences or for a higher level of life. Now, I'm one of the people, I truly believe, and this is why I'm in business. This is why I exist. This is one of my purposes here in my lifetime, I believe in the planet, is to help other people who are purpose driven and mission driven and have a great heart and want to help humanity heal and want to build a better world for generations to come. I believe money needs to get into the hands of those people. I believe that people who have that kind of a heart and who have beliefs that everyone should be free and sovereign, and have beliefs that, you know, there shouldn't be just certain percentages of people with riches and then the rest should be struggling and broke and hungry and all this stuff. The people who believe that there should be abundance for all, those should be the people who money is funneled into their hands, right? And then the people who want to or learn how to manage it really, really well, right? So when you start to explore, well, what is money really, right? Money's energy, money's a tool. How would your life change if you had more of that tool in your life? How would it change? And ask yourself that question. If I suddenly had double what I have now, if I suddenly just my income doubled, my monthly income all of a sudden is, or take this, right? If your monthly income suddenly became your weekly income, say whatever it is, that if you're earning 5,000 a month, now you're earning 20, right? If you're earning 10,000 a month, now you're earning 40. If you're barely making 1,000 or something like that, now you're earning 4. Just quadruple it, right? You're earning that every single week. I want you to think about how your life would change. And chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, you are one of those people who is a purpose-driven, a mission-driven person. You care about others. You want to help others. I believe that most people are that way. Most people are, if you watch the news and if you watch media and if you're plugged into the crazy mainstream media, they're going to make the world look like this place of that everyone's a murderer and everyone's violent and everyone just doesn't care about anybody else and the world is a crazy animalistic world and this and that. I don't believe that. I believe that most people, they want to live a good life for themselves and they do want to help others. And if they're able to help others, they usually will. I live in a town, a small town in Tennessee, and I witnessed this when I moved here because I'm from Southern California, and California is like a fast-paced place, and sometimes, depending on what areas that you're in, you'll really experience that, where like people might be a little bit snooty in certain areas or certain places, and they might not care so much about their brother or their neighbor. You know what I mean? But when I moved out here to this town, um, and it's also in the South, right? So like people in the South have maybe a little more compassion for each other, or a little more like neighborly love, like love your neighbor as yourself, truly, right? The golden rule, right? And what does that really mean to do? And that means that if you see somebody else that's doing without, or you see somebody else that's in need, or if you see somebody else, say, oh, well, that's their fault, I'm gonna go on about my day. No, you see and you're like, oh, wow, how could I help that person? You're not going to judge why they're there. You're not going to judge why they're in that situation. You're not going to judge why it is that they need help. The point is, you're going to treat them as if that's yourself and you're going to help that person, right? So I really witnessed that in this community that we moved out to. And it's a really nice, beautiful community here. But I believe that people like that should be empowered to become rich, because when people who have a good heart become rich, that's when change is truly implemented in the world. So if you're one of those people, you deserve to have a lot of money. You deserve to be rich. You deserve to be somebody who becomes wealthy. Why? Because your ideas that you have, the heart that you have, the drive that you have to go out and change humanity, or to create a change in the world, or even for just certain individuals. Maybe you want to help women that have experienced domestic violence. Maybe you want to help women or children who have experienced some kind of abuse. Maybe you want to go and you want to feed the hungry, or you want to help animals, or whatever it is that you personally want to do. Couldn't you do more of that with money? The answer is yes, right? So if your monthly income became your weekly income, what could you do? You could probably increase your immediately. You could probably be like, well, all my bills would be paid in full all the time with no regard, right? With no struggle or anything like that. You could probably check that off. You could probably increase your the level and the quality of food that you and your family is eating, right? You could probably, maybe you could go all organic instead of half organic or something, right? You can eat more organic, healthy food. Maybe you can take more supplements for you and your family. You can become healthier. Maybe you can start being involved in more activities with your children, or things that they want to do for their personal growth, right? So the quality of your life would increase, right? With money, with more money, right? And if the quality of your life increased, don't you think that by you increasing yourself, by you increasing the quality of life for yourself and for your family, that would positively affect those around you, or would it negatively affect them? Do you think that it would positively affect the communities that you're in, the places that you want to give back to, if your monthly income became your weekly income and you suddenly had 4 times as much money as you have right now? Probably, right? The places that you want to give to, the things that are important to you, you'd probably be able to give even more, right? Especially if you had a rule about giving as well. So that's the next topic that I want to talk about. We're going to get into implementation, right? So we've kind of covered what money truly is, and what I want you to go out and reflect on what you've been told about it, what you believe about it, and ask yourself, do I want to keep the beliefs that I have right now? Because right now, see, I came into a space where I was like, you know what? The beliefs that I have, they're not working for me anymore. The beliefs that I have back in 2013, the beliefs that I had 2012, 2013 had me, working full time and beyond, never seeing my family, and just working paycheck to paycheck. And I was in debt, and I was just in this cycle. I was like on the hamster wheel of like working, 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 never experiencing life, just paying bills. And I was like, this is not the way that my life's supposed to be. It's just not. And I want to experience something else, right? So you have to ask yourself, do I want to keep the beliefs that I have right now that are getting me the results that I have right now? And if the answer is no, well, the ultimate question should be, do I want to keep these results that I have right now? If the answer is no to that question, then you have to say, well, then I have to be willing to change the beliefs that I have. I have to be willing to change the concepts that I have about myself, about money, about the world, about how money is earned. I have to be willing to challenge that, and I have to be willing to replace it, and I have to be willing to believe something new. Because if you don't believe something new, you're going to continue to do what's the famous quote? If you continue to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, it's what? Insanity. So you're going to be operating out of insanity, thinking that someday you'll hit the lotto, or someday you'll get rich, or someday you'll get lucky, or someday something will happen where your money situation will change, when really we have to take 100% responsibility. We have to go to the root cause of our results and our effects, right? And all throughout this podcast, you're going to hear me talking about causing effect in your life, because we live in a universe that is governed by so many laws. But one of the laws is cause and effect. For every effect, which is the physical world, there is a cause, which is a spiritual and mental cause. So that includes money, because money is physical too, right? Most people don't even consider that maybe money has a spiritual and a mental aspect to it, because, oh, it's a created thing. But it does, right? And we're actually not going to get into that part of money on this specific episode. This is just an episode. I'm bringing some stuff up so that you can challenge it. You can go out and start to ask yourself these questions and then start to make some simple beginner shifts on your relationship to money. So, if money is just a tool, if money is just energy, I'm gonna challenge and ask myself, do I want to keep the beliefs that I have? If the answer is no, then I have to gain some new beliefs. I have to learn, well, what should I believe about money in order to change the amount that I have? What should I start believing about it? Right. So I attended this seminar and I highly recommend. I don't even know if they're still around because of the whole, the virus stuff that's happening. But one of the very first seminars, I think it was the first actual like personal development seminar other than company events that I had been to. It's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind from T. Harv Eker. Oh man, my phone's ringing. Hold on one second. And basically, this seminar teaches you or taught you, I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it's still around, but it basically laid out all of the ways that millionaires think differently than average people who never decide to become a millionaire or who never accumulate the knowledge and the information to become a millionaire. There's also an audio. So if you can't get to an event or something like that, there's a book and an audio as well. You might even be able to find it on YouTube. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harv Eker. Highly recommended because you get to hear and experience a whole new light being shed on beliefs that maybe you never have experienced before. So if you've never hung out with millionaires and you've never been friends with millionaires and your parents are not millionaires, then you don't know how millionaires think, right? You can't gain information unless you seek it out in this world that we're in, because we're not given the actual information that we need, truly that we need to live an abundant life, right? It's something that we have to seek out and gain because it's kind of been like swept under the rug or set aside for certain people and a little bit hidden from us, right? So anyways, I went to this I went to this seminar and they put you through all these different exercises and they go through all this different information talking about how average people think, and then here's how millionaires think, and here's how average people do stuff, and here's how millionaires do stuff. And it's all about thinking differently, believing differently, and then doing things differently when it comes to money. And one of the things that stood out to me the most and that has made one of the biggest impacts in my life is the way that they talk about managing money. So the average person, back when I was working my job, my money life looked like this, right? Like I would get paid every other week. And then immediately all of the money would leave my bank account to pay bills and to buy things for myself, my family, or whatever, groceries and whatever have you. We rarely had like any extra money for anything. It just boom, $1,100 would hit my account and boom, $1,100 would be gone. And then usually my bank account would go a little bit into the negative until the next paycheck, right? Maybe you can relate to that. Hope not, but if you can, you're not alone. So that's what my money life used to look like, right? And then so I went to the seminar and they teach you that, well, millionaires, they actually tell their money what to do and they tell their money where to go. They don't just allow money to walk all over them. They don't just allow themselves and their lives to be ruled and dictated by money. They control the flow of money. They control the money that flows in, and then they control the money that flows out. So one of the takeaways that I want to give you today is a budgeting system, and they call it the 5-jar system. And I think Dave Ramsey, who's another financial guru, teacher person, or whatever, he teaches something similar to this too, with envelopes, and that you should. He says something about like never using credit cards and debit cards, only using cash, and then keeping everything in different envelopes, which you can do. I don't judge any different way. The point is to be control, to gain control of your money. And if you can't do this with your entire check or your entire income that comes in, decide a portion of it that you can do this with, because I'm telling you right now, it's going to change. It's going to change you on the level that's most important, which is your frequency when it comes to money. So, one of the most important things that you can realize today is that there's a frequency to earning, or I'm not even going to say earning. Actually, I'm personally working on taking out the words earning and making money out of my vocabulary, and I'm working on inserting attracting and creating, because those are the two true ways from a complete alignment standpoint and from a complete like co-creator standpoint is we create money and we attract money. The worst ways to experience money would be working for it and earning it. Anyhow, so you want to tell money where to go. You want to be the person who says, this amount of money is going to go over there, this amount of money is going to go over here, and this amount of money is going to go over there. So they say split it up into 5 jars or 5 accounts, right? Separate it however you want. Do it however you want in cash, online, and different bank accounts, however you want to separate it. But you're going to start telling your money where to go. You're going to create an account, and here's what I think that they recommend. But here's what we do, right? We have personal expenses, we have a savings that does not get touched section of money, right? You have a giving section, right? So expenses, I don't have a pen or anything right here, so I'm hoping that I say all five. Hold on. Expenses, a savings that you don't touch, a giving account, a long-term savings specifically for spending. So if you're going to be saving up money for like a trip or saving up money for like a new piece of furniture or whatever that you think that you have a large expense coming down the road, money's going to go into that account, right? And then here's one that we weren't taught in school, education. Education. For me, and for probably you and others that are going to tune into this podcast, you're probably somebody who is interested in investing in themselves, and maybe you've purchased courses in the past, or maybe you're brand new to it, maybe you're brand new to personal and spiritual development. But I highly recommend that if you haven't begun investing into yourself and your education, and I'm not talking about going to college and getting a degree like that, I'm talking about investing into the education that you need personally to grow as a person. And if you're brand new, here's where I recommend that you begin: invest into learning more about you, and invest into learning more about yourself, who you are, why it is you do what you do, and working on your personal identity. Underneath that umbrella would be like self love, self worth, um, and personal development, right? So seek out to invest into your education in those areas, right? If you're already a business owner, or if you've already been doing personal development, then you probably know education can be anything that's going to sharpen your specific skills that you have as a person. It's going to make you better at whatever it is that you do, so that you can increase your value in the marketplace, and as a result, you're going to be able to attract and create more money in your life. So you have these 5 sections that you're putting money into, right? And it's really up to you the percentages that you want to do. Like if you're going to use 100% of your income that comes in and you're going to divide it up, this is what's recommended, right? They say, okay, so if you have $1,000 come in, and here we go, we're about to do some math. Hopefully I don't make any mistakes, right? But I'm not gonna say the specific amounts, but just to give you an idea, like expenses would be something like 55%, and then savings could be like 5 or 10%, depending on how much you want to give, and you're inspired to give as well. There's no laws behind this. It's just give from your heart, right? Savings don't touch could be another like 10%. Long-term savings for spending could be another 10%. Education could be another 10%, and do it that way, right? But have it all obviously equal to 100%, so that way you're telling every dollar that comes in where to go. And when I started doing this, I started doing this process several years ago for the first time, and it's been like an off and on thing where, like, when I first started, I started doing it, and then like I kind of fell off from doing it, and it was always like a up and down thing, up and down thing, right? But when I very first started applying it, I was amazed at just the feeling that it gave me inside immediately. Like when I started, and I was working with cash at the time, I started putting my cash in these different envelopes. And I remember it wasn't even that much money, but because I was the one, like, I was like putting money here, putting money there, and I felt like I had money all over the place. It gives you this feeling of, like, number one, being in control, being the authority over money. It gives you the feeling of being responsible, right, and being a safe space for money. Because sometimes we have this subconscious belief of like, oh, well, I can't be trusted with money because I'm irresponsible, I blow it, I'm in debt, I buy the wrong things, I do this, I do that, or whatever. And if you have that subconscious belief, you might not trust yourself to have money. Therefore, you subconsciously repel it away from you, not even knowing that you're doing that, right? Everything is a subconscious program. Everything's a subconscious belief. Everything goes back to some kind of subconscious thing. And subconscious is the level of consciousness that we're not really aware of, but it was put into our mind and our brain when we were a child, or when we were young, or something that got repeated over and over and over and over and over again. Now it's a program that's running in our brain and in our mind. So I remember the feeling of control that I got, and the feeling of just, and not control in a bad way, just like control, like, wow, I'm telling money where to go now, right? Like I'm not just letting it come in and come out and feeling like I got ran over and I just got, I'm being controlled by my money. I was feeling like I was in control. So that's one of the benefits for you. You're going to be the one that starts telling money where it's going and how much of it is going there. And then be disciplined, right? You don't want to fill up your envelopes, or separate your accounts online, or whatever, however you're going to do it. You don't want to do this and then not be disciplined and start just spending all the money. And like I said, if you're in a space, because I know there's going to be certain people that are like, well, I wish that I could do that, but you don't understand. Like I'm in the position that you used to be in, where every single dollar that's coming in is going right back out, right? So here's what you have to do, right? If you're in that space, if you're in a space where like maybe this is you, I really want to increase my abundance, I really want to increase my prosperity, I want to make, earn, create, attract more money. I want to experience more money in my life. However, right now I'm not experiencing a lot of it. I'm not earning a lot of it. I don't have a lot of it coming in. And the amount that's coming in is so small that it's just going right back out. So I don't see how I could do something like this. So here's my recommendation to those of you who feel like that or in that percentage. Take an amount that you can manage. And if you're like, well, I can't even take an amount that I can manage, here's what you have to do, right? Because I've been in that space too. You have to figure out how to get your cost of living a little bit lower so that way you have some room to manage something. So, is there a bill? Is there something that you're paying for that you don't absolutely have to have? Or are there things around your house that you don't really need that are of value that you could just go ahead and sell on marketplace or do something? The idea is to get a flow and a motion going between you and money. So if you have to sell some stuff around your house or clear out your garage or have a yard sale or do something to just, if that's all that you can do is, well, I can sell some old clothes that I have, or I have these appliances, or I have this, or I have that. Start to look around your environment, ask yourself, what do I have that's of value that's just sitting there that I can exchange for money because I would rather have the money than to have this thing, right? Remember how we said everything's energy? So the cabinet that you have that's just taking up space, that's energy too, right? But would you rather have that cabinet or would you rather have some money that you could start to manage in order to increase your frequency with money? Does that make sense? So you have to find a way to get that little bit of wiggle room so that you can. So for an example, if all your money's coming in right now and you're like, I can't manage it like that because it's all going right back out, then figure out, can you just start taking $100 a month, $100 a week? What's the amount for you that you can just start taking? And I know it probably sounds crazy. You're like, I'm not just going to take $100 and divide it up into five, or even if a person, if I was sitting across the table from a homeless person right now, I'd be like, how much donations are you getting every day? If you're getting $20 in donations a day, I would say you need to start doing this process because of what it's going to do for you energetically. And I could guarantee that homeless person that their $20 a day would turn into probably double that at least by just doing this, by just dividing it up. They could start giving some of their money to another homeless person or to somebody else or something like that. They could start applying this rule and it would start working for them in their life. So is it $100? Is it $50? Is it, maybe it's a little bit more, maybe it's $500 that you can start taking out of your check or taking out of whatever money's coming in and divide it up in this way. And the most important one is the giving part, right? Maybe you've been one of the people in the past. So many people think like this. They think, I'll give money when I have more. Like, you don't understand. I don't have a lot right now. I can't give right now. You have to stop thinking like that. You have to stop, because the reason that you're in the position that you're in right now is because you have that channel closed off. Money, energetically speaking and spiritually speaking, it comes to people who can be a good steward of it, who's a channel for it, and money wants to flow all the time. So money's wanting to flow in and out and steadily in and out. It doesn't, if you become somebody who's like a hoarder of money and you just hold on to it all and you don't want to share anything, you don't want to give anything away, you're scared to spend it, you're scared to invest it, you just want to save it and just keep it all in like a box in your room or something like that, you're never going to become abundant and prosperous like you could be. And I bet that channel of money is going to probably get cut off, or something's going to happen to it, or something's going to happen to that money that you're saving because you're not operating within the laws of the universe that govern resources and money, right? Which we can talk about that in another episode. Anyway, so what you want to do is gain control and get in control and authority with the money that is coming in. And if you don't have enough money to start doing it with all of your money, then at least do a portion and make the giving one your top priority. So I don't care if it's just $1 that you can go give to someone today. I encourage you, as an assignment from this podcast, go and give money to someone today. It doesn't have to be 10% of whatever's in your bank account right now. It just has to be, here's the key amount. It's an amount that's makes you just a little bit like, I could give that away, but just like, it makes me a little bit, that's the perfect amount for you. So if that's $10, $20, 100, 200, whatever, it's going to be different for each person that's listening, right? But I encourage you to go do that today. Go give it away and start making a rule and a law in your own life that as money comes in, I'm always giving. I'm an excellent, so one of the affirmations they give you in Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, or the seminar, is I'm an excellent I'm a generous giver and I'm an excellent receiver. So those of us who get in a bad pattern of not being able to give, that's giving out, right? What happens is the opposite is we give off this frequency that that blocks us from being a great receiver as well. Some of the most, you might find that if you actually start to pay attention and look at some of the people who are the most prosperous, they're also the most generous. If you look at it, find some people. I encourage you, go find some people in your life who you know are really, really generous. They're always like giving money or doing this or whatever. You'll find that, oh, wow, they're giving and they're also receiving. And it's a flow that you have to get yourself into, and you have to just take it one step at a time and move yourself into there a little bit at a time. Like you might be just at first giving a few dollars here and a few dollars there, but you're going to find as you start to activate this flow and this energy in your life, it's going to increase and increase. And if you're disciplined with it, and you do it along with shifting your beliefs, shifting your identity with who you are around money, with what money is in your life, you start to feel more worthy of money. You start to feel like money's more valuable, and there's more important and mission driven reasons why you should have a lot of money in your life. You're going to find that maybe 30 days, 60 days, 90 days from today, you're going to look back at to when you first listened to this podcast and you first started to do this stuff. You're going to look back and be like, wow, I can't believe how much my life and how much my relationship with money has changed. I'm telling you right now, you're going to have opportunities that open up for you. You're going to have people that show up in your life to help you, whether it's like maybe you find a coach or a mentor that can help you in the way of money, or maybe you have an opportunity to invest into a course that helps you with your money mentality, or you're going to find even the smallest things, like you're going to stumble upon another podcast or maybe a Facebook post, or somebody posts something on Instagram, and what happens is you're just going to start this this bridge of incidents this bridge of incidents that's going to lead you to the next step and lead you to the next step. And what you're doing is you're becoming the creator of your own reality. You're becoming the creator of your own reality in regards to how money flows in and how money flows out into your life and how you're able to use it, right? So we talked about that money is just energy and it's just a tool, and it has no value until it's in the hands of someone. And it's not evil unless it's put into the hands of an evil person and it's used for an evil purpose, right? But if you're not an evil person and you're not going to use money for negative, evil purposes, then guess what? You deserve to have all of the money that you could ever dream of having, because you're obviously going to go out and do great things with it. Money's an amplifier. Another myth to bust is, oh, money makes you evil or makes you greedy or anything like that. No, it doesn't. It's an amplifier. It makes you more of what you already are. So if you're already a greedy person and you don't like to help people and you don't like to do anything and you just want to gain a bunch of money and material stuff, well, if you somehow gain a lot of money on accident through like the lotto or somehow, usually those people, it doesn't last for them, right? But if they do get money, the money's going to amplify what they already are. So if you're a good person, it's going to amplify your goodness. It's going to help you to do more good in the world. So you are worthy of it. You are deserving of it, right? Challenge your beliefs that you have now. Challenge the beliefs around money or any area of your life, but this is a money episode, right? Challenge your beliefs that you have around money. If you're not earning the money that you or creating or attracting or experiencing the amount of money that you want in your life, challenge the beliefs that you've been given about money. The economy right now, and then I'm going to wrap it up, right? One of the biggest things that you could stop doing right now is just take your conscious attention away from all of the outside world having to do with the media, the mainstream media, the news, the economy, the gas prices, the this and that. Take your attention away from that as much as you can. Now, if you have to go and fill your tank up, of course you're going to see the price of gas, and you may or may not be irritated by that. My recommendation is to become as neutral as you can in your emotions around everything to do with the economy and everything to do with money in specifically. Even with your bills, like if you're in a situation where you can't pay a specific bill or you have some debt, start working on becoming emotionally neutral, because what we get emotionally involved with expands. The things that we focus on and then we give a lot of emotion to, and we start to put a lot of stress, and we start to, you're a magnifier. You're literally you're a cosmic being in a human body. You are an electromagnetic biological being. And maybe you don't know how powerful you are, but you're super powerful. Okay. So when you get emotional over stuff, when you display and exert high amounts of cortisol in your body or stress hormones, or you start to get real emotional and upset and angry and frustrated and all these things, and you start to feel that contraction and that feeling in the pit of your stomach, and you start to feel all those things, anxiety and all this stuff over money and everything to do with the money and bills and debt and the economy and gas and everything else. When you start to feel that, you're literally you're what you're doing energetically wise is you're putting out a frequency of perpetuating that cycle. You're like becoming a broadcaster of like lack, limitation, high, everything that you're feeling, you're broadcasting everything that you're feeling, you're also magnetizing back to you. So feeling magnetizes more of the same back to us. That's how it works. Everything that you are getting stressed out about, you're magnifying more of that back into your life. So become neutral when it comes to these things. And then lastly, the giving, right? So if you have 3 takeaways to write down, it would be number 1, challenge your beliefs, right? Challenge your beliefs and your thoughts, and start to pay attention each and every day about how am I reacting to situations around money? How am I reacting in regards to the subject of money and the experiences that I'm having? How am I reacting, and how can I just become emotionally neutral and stop reacting emotionally about this? Look at it for what it is, and then look for a solution. And then becoming the authority of money in your life. Start managing your money in a way where you're telling it where to go, no matter how little or how much you have. You start there, and you start that cycle of giving and receiving, right? And then as you become emotionally neutral and as you start to be a giver, even if you feel like you don't have a whole lot, I promise you things are going to start changing for you. So I hope you got a ton of value out of this podcast. It was a lot. You might have to go back to the beginning and listen to it a couple of times. But here's a bold claim, right? I guarantee that anybody who listens to this podcast and actually goes out and applies these things, actually starts to become neutral in their emotions, actually starts to go out and divide their money up and watches or listens to or reads Secrets of the Millionaire Mind and actually starts to apply those principles into their life. You're going to be able to come back to me in I would say even as soon as 30 days, but 90 days for sure. You'll come back to me in 90 days and be like, hey, I listened to that podcast. I went out and did what you said. And guess what? X, Y, and Z happened. And you wouldn't believe the opportunities. You wouldn't believe the amount of money I started creating. You wouldn't believe all the different things that opened up for me. I'm telling you right now, this is the way it works. And here's how you start. And here's how you begin and where you begin if you're right there at the beginning. So I hope you have value out of this. Of course, feel free to share with a friend or a family member that also might find this valuable. And if you're over on Apple or iTunes or Apple Podcasts or whatever it is, please leave me a review. I would love you to be one of the first 5-star reviews, and I'll have something amazing. I'm going to start having rewards and all the kind of things available to those of you who actually leave reviews. And if you feel like you can give it 5 stars, I would really appreciate that. So thank you so much. Stay blessed. And I will see you or hear you, or you'll hear me in the next podcast. Bye.